minute, hasn't it? But we're back with what I eat in a week, and today I'm starting off with something I haven't made before, which is tteokbokki. And I've been wanting to try this for so long, but trying to find it without like fish cakes or just even fish sauce, like in the seasonings, is like damn near impossible. Therefore, I made it myself. To replace the fish cakes and give it some more protein, I would use tofu, but not just like regular tofu. I use the ones that they, like the pockets. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna put this picture of it on the screen. Not only is the texture different, but they're also like, they have their own flavor, which is actually pretty sweet and normally why I don't buy them, but I feel like it would work in this recipe. And I actually did buy these. I went to H Mart and filmed like a whole grocery shop with me. I just never edited it, but that was pretty good. I love anything like really chewy. So rice cakes are good, and also my favorite is udon. But I digress. Next up, we're making breakfast, and I decided to take it back to the beginning and give you guys like a little title before we get into the recipe, because I feel like not everyone's gonna look in the description box, and maybe you don't need measurements because Lord knows I'm not even giving you the correct ones. You know, I eyeball everything. So if you just want to know what's in it and then like figure it out yourself, this is your time. You can just like quickly jot it down, grab that stuff at the market, and then throw it in until it looks about right, because that's all I'm doing anyway. But speaking of recipes, you'll notice they're not in the description box. Why? Because they're going to be on the blog. And if you saw the last like apartment update video, you know I gave myself a deadline of February. So some of you have been holding me accountable. Most of you are like, no, take your time. That's not going to help you. I need structure, and clearly I can't give it to myself. But so far, we are on track for February. You know that I use Squarespace as my platform, so thank you to them for sponsoring this portion of today's video. And honestly, since I've stopped making everything so difficult for myself and just like use the tools that are available to me, super simple. Like if you want a text box, you just press a button, it adds it, you replace the text, you can change the font, you can drop in pictures wherever you want. So I'm just gonna start off super simple because clearly I'm doing too much. I'm trying to customize the HTML, and I got time for that, but you could if you wanted to. So if you're not web savvy, this is the platform for you. If you guys want to check it out, make sure you start your free trial, squarespace.com/abetweene, and that'll get you 10% off your website or domain. Now, this next recipe is not one that I actually recommend that you make. This was a total experiment. This is a quinoa porridge because I was just looking for like more protein breakfasts other than tofu scramble or oatmeal. Because I mean, more recently I've noticed that I don't actually hate oats as much as I thought I did. It's the overnight oats for me. That's definitely the preparation that I prefer, but you know I get bored with food easily, so I'm just gonna switch it up. I even used the pistachio milk that I bought in the Thrive Market haul. Just, it's a no for me. And as you can see, the color is totally off. Yes, I know that things don't normally compare to what you make fresh at home, but it was literally night and day. So again, I don't recommend that you make this, so I haven't actually shared the recipe for it, just because I was experimenting. With some tweaking though, I think it could be just as good as regular porridge. And then also for my haul, I got some black beans, and y'all know how I love soup, right? But haven't seen me make it lately. So we're making black bean soup, which I've also actually never made. So I finally christened my Dutch oven. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't add a ton of onions. So not only am I going to mince some yellow onion, I'm also going to add some red onion for texture. So those I'll just dice. And if you've ever seen me make beans before, I always add chocolate. I guess because they just remind me of a mole sauce. So that, and also a little bit of cinnamon. In fact, you can just purchase like a mole seasoning, because then you'll also have all of like the peppers so that you don't have to source them individually. But since I have it, I'm also going to use some chipotle peppers. You can also just use the ones like in adobo sauce because they'll already be hydrated. But you know, since this is the closest thing to fresh, I prefer to get these instead of something in a can. And what you could do is, after these are soft, you can blend them with some of your beans and stock and reincorporate that into your soup so that you have like a ratio of thicker consistency, like broth, along with your textured beans and onions. And you can also add like other vegetables, of course, if you want to. Just an option, but I'll show you what the final texture of the soup looks like without me doing that. And because I actually didn't have that soup the same day, I like to let it refrigerate overnight because, I mean, the best way I can describe it is spaghetti. It's good the first day, but on the second, it just hit different, you know? So, same. Therefore, I threw together the quickest thing I could think of, which was this. I fried some tofu, I added garlic chips, mung beans, and then I even threw in some chives. Honestly, because they were going bad, therefore I needed to use them before they did. So finally, for lunch, I got to my soup, and this is the final consistency. So again, I didn't blend any of it. This is just cooked as is. I highly recommend that you top it with some vegan sour cream. This is actually plain coconut yogurt, which doesn't compare, but it'll have to do. And yes, more onions. Speaking of things, I also got in my order chickpeas, and these I prepped by just soaking them overnight with a little bit of baking soda because I am making falafel for the first time. So I added everything to my fruit processor. For anyone who's curious, everything that I'm using is always linked in the description box. So I get this question a lot. My food processor is actually a hand blender. I just have bought all of these attachments that go with it because you guys know, like when I was living in my last apartment in a studio, it was all about conserving space. So I would purchase things that could do more than one job. And that was how I capitalized on every bit of storage in my place. So yeah, you can find that down below. And this mixture I put in the refrigerator for like an hour, and then just before I decided to cook it up, I put in a little bit of baking powder. These I decided to pan fry. I considered even putting them in the oven just because I wanted to use as little oil as I can get away with. And these two I did not have the same day, so I actually just packaged them up because I was losing light. So I decided to eat them the next day for lunch. And because I didn't have any pita bread, I just decided to have it as a salad. So I made a quick tahini dressing with lemon juice, salt, white pepper, garlic, and I think a little cumin. And then I topped it with greens, as you do when you buy microgreens, you put them on everything so that you can actually use them up before they go bad. And speaking of light, I don't know why I never film at night because I've definitely like done it before. In fact, I've actually filmed it in a vlog before where I made dinner with you guys. Because I have lights underneath the cabinet, like it's kind of a vibe. But if you guys want to see like a night series where I just make dinner, let me know down below. And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for more recipes next week.